welcome to the first vlog of 2024. I hope everyone had a lovely Christmas and New Year's. It's been quite a while since I last uploaded a video. I got so caught up in pre-Christmas Etsy orders and making things for friends and family, but I'm so excited to finally have time to sit down and work on this new major project. This will be my first ever temperature blanket, if you can call it that. I'm not much of a blanket maker, even though I was convinced that's all I was ever going to make when I started crochet. I'm yet to finish a single blanket, so I figured why not combine the blanket idea with my love for micro crochet and turn it into a mini wall hanging instead. I took quite a long time to decide on colours and redid them a couple times. I really wanted this to be in your face colour, so I've chosen colours for every degree Celsius between 0 and 26, and then a colour for every 2 degrees above and below that. As I reach those temperatures, if I reach those temperatures, I might add to them as well. I also know myself and I get really bored really easily if I'm constantly working with the same colours, so having this many colours is a way of combating that and keeping myself interested over a full year. This is definitely the longest project I've ever done, so we'll see how that goes. I will also be tracking the conditions of each day, so I've assigned a colour for each of those as well. So let's talk construction for a minute. I'm going to be making granny squares with 3 rounds and 1 or 2 borders. The centre is for weather conditions, second is for low temperatures, third is for high temperatures, and then the border colour is for location. I should also mention that I'm tracking the conditions of the place I'm staying that night rather than just my home location, since I have a bit of travel planned this year. I know that a lot of temperature blanket makers do just focus on where they live, but I wanted this to represent where my travels for the year as well. For materials, I'm using 2 strands of DMC embroidery floss instead of my usual threads, so that the finished piece has a little bit more drape, and I'm also using those with a 0.75mm hook. Originally I was going to add another round to track wind as well, since I live in a very windy place, but I wanted the squares to stay nice and small, so I added that to the weather conditions instead. My condition for wind is if it's 70 kilometers per hour, gusts and above. I think that's a good starting point because that's when it really starts to be too windy to have the windows open, and it's impossible to have a good hair day when you go outside. One other thing I should explain before we get into it is my extra measure for keeping myself entertained throughout this project. Since I'm using 2 strands for the pieces, I can combine colours, which I will be doing for both the conditions and the temperatures. Since the weather in Wellington is quite changeable, I will be tracking the conditions for the morning and afternoon, so if it's raining in the morning and sunny in the afternoon, I'll combine those 2 colours together. I'm also doing this for temperatures, so if the temperature is 0.5 and above, 17.8 for example, I'll combine the colour for that temperature as well as the one above it. In hindsight, I don't know if this is really worth it since the colours are so similar, but I think it's another little added bonus to keep me occupied and another thing for me to track. So now that we've got all of the explanations and introductions out of the way, grab yourself a beverage of your choice and a project to work on, and let's get stuck into the crochet. didn't film any of the process, but we finished the squares now and moved on to the borders. As I mentioned, I'll be using different colour for different places to track my travel throughout the year. I spent the first week of the new year with my partner's family, so I'll have a different border colour to start with, and then I'll move on to what I'm using to represent my home. I'm also trying to decide if I add another border to the outside to tie them all together, and maybe to separate the months, so like black for January, white for February, and then back to black for March, and so on. I'm 3 weeks in and still haven't made a decision on that, so let me know your thoughts, or whether they all just have a black border and maybe it doesn't matter whether I separate months. Yeah, I haven't made a decision, so let me know what you think. So that concludes the first 2 weeks. I'm so stoked with how this is turning out. It's the in-your-face color that I was hoping for, that's for sure. I'm actually 3 weeks into this now as of editing this, so I'll pop that in towards the end, just to give you a look. Please let me know your thoughts on the second border. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm still undecided, but I really need to get a move on unless I want like 60 squares to update all at once. So the options were either breaking up the months by color, or just all one color, like all white or all black, or just no border. That's also an option as well, but I thought a border might just help bring them all together. So let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching if you made it this far. I hope you enjoyed coming along on this journey. I'm thinking of doing an update maybe every like 6 weeks to 2 months, so I don't overwhelm everyone with too much temperature blanket content. I'm also planning on some bigger projects, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I'd love if you subscribe and join the fun. Before I go, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to Marjorie, who kindly donated me a coffee a little while ago. Sorry it's taken me so long to get to the thank you, but it's appreciated nonetheless. If you enjoy my content and would like to support me as well as get a shout out in one of my videos, feel free to buy me a coffee over on my Kofi page, which is linked below. It goes a long way to support my little business, so thank you so much. But that wraps up everything I wanted to say. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.